Okay, so let's start out.
Okay.
What is your name?
Well, hello. My name is Julia Daniel, and I work with the English department. My title is Instructor of Core Literature and Writing. I am also the book review editor for the T.S. Eliot Society, and I am an assistant to an editor for a forthcoming volume on T.S. Eliot's prose.
Is it TSI editing?
T.S. Eliot, E-L-I-O-T.
And you're the editor? You said?
I'm the assistant editor for the
Assistant
prose
editor.
project.
That's interesting. I didn't know that.
It is an incredibly fun job. All of my jobs are incredibly fun jobs. It works out really well.
Okay. Why did you choose to work at Loyola?
Well, I am actually a Loyola alumna.
Oh.
So I received my PhD, my MA and my PhD in English Lit from Loyola. So I already had a fantastic experience as a student, and was really thrilled that I got to stay on to teach. And as a graduate student, I had done a lot of teaching already, and I love our student population. I mean, honestly, it's you guys. That's why I like working here.
Really?
Yeah. Oh my gosh, absolutely.
Are we just like really diverse? This is like.
It's a whole bunch of different things. It's a really diverse community, but I have a ton of respect for all of my students. I think we have just an incredibly dedicated and hardworking student population. Like, I have students who, take my summer course full time, and they're working full time, and they're in a nursing practicum, and they're helping to take care of their families, and I just admire that immensely. And they're people who really value their education, and y'all aren't too cool to care about things.
Yeah.
Which makes a really big difference. Like, you guys get passionate about what you study, about what's going on in your world, about movies, about what restaurant not to go to, and that just makes for... I'm excited to go to work every single day because I get to have conversations with people who care.
That's interesting. I didn't even realize that about us. Like,
Yeah.
I guess we do care.
Yeah, it's really, and it's not, it's not necessarily true of every university culture, because, you could get a very large hipster population that's a little too cool to actually, say that they like anything ever, and that's not us, and I'm really grateful for that.
No, we're passionate hipsters.
Yeah, passionate hipsters. It's going to be the name of my band. The Passionate Hipsters.
Okay, so obviously Loyola has a lot that it represents and that we try to promote. So can you tell me why understanding diversity in the United States specifically is important and relevant to your life and then your work as well?
Sure. Well, the way that I realized that I wanted to do higher education was that so I went to Providence College for undergrad, which is super tiny liberal arts college out on the East Coast. And after I graduated, I did a 2-year volunteer program teaching humanities courses in women's homeless shelters. And it was an amazing experience with a population that was diverse in all kinds of different ways. We usually think about diversity in terms of race and gender, but it was that community, there was a lot of diversity in terms of ability and disability. And they were so charged to have access to this kind of education that it really helped me to see the value of what it is I teach and do for a very wide, diverse swath of students. And Loyola it's in one of the most integrated neighborhoods in Chicago. So I get to walk down the street, and between my house and campus, I can hear 15 different languages being spoken just as a matter of course. And I think that that's a good sort of representation of what the world is and what the world is that you guys are walking out into. And if part of our job is to help you prepare for that, it's great to be in this neighborhood. It's great to have a diverse student population. We have the highest, religious diversity. We have the highest population of Muslim students of any Jesuit university globally, which is wonderful. And just for being human, it's just boring to have a lot of the same thing over and over again. So again, it makes for just a more interesting life, which I enjoy.
Yes. Okay, why should Loyola students learn this value or just treasure this value? So I guess why should Loyola students understand diversity?
Well, in a really utilitarian way, you all are going to be going into workplaces that are global, more so than any other generation before you, especially because of all of the totally amazing stuff we're able to do now with technology. So it's not just global with the people sitting in front of you, but you're going to be doing a lot of networking through Facebook and through Twitter, and it's going to be international, and it requires a sensitivity to the mores and expectations of different cultures. But also, I think having a global perspective is a really helpful way to imagine yourself standing outside of your own culture looking in. And that kind of mentality is one that helps you really reflect on what you think is valuable in your own culture and critique what you think needs to be changed. Because if it's all McDonald's every day, you can't even imagine what an alternative would even look like. And I think a global perspective helps you get that. I think as much as everybody can manage it, it's so worthwhile to study abroad. If you can, you should. I did a year abroad in Oxford when I was an undergrad, and I remember my roommate just having an absolute freak out because there are no American-sized washers and dryers. They're like these little itty-bitty sort of mini in the kitchen next to the dishwasher, because people hand wash and hand dry a lot of stuff and they don't have as many clothes as we do. And she just flipped out and then eventually got used to line drying her stuff and then came back to the States, and her response was, everything is so oversized and it's too big and we have too much stuff, which she never would have thought about ever unless she had gone and actually lived in a different place for a little while and gotten used to a different rhythm of life. Anne. I should call Anne. It's neither here nor there, sorry.
Do you have future plans beyond Loyola?
Yes.
Aren't you writing a book?
I am. So right now, I am shopping around a book which is called Building Nature. It's a study of the depiction of nature and urban environments in modern American poetry, and it argues that that divide between nature is over here and the city's over there actually isn't true, and that a lot of modern poets sort of blur the line between nature and the city. So I'm doing that. I'm also contributing a chapter to a collection of essays on T.S. Eliot. And my contract here is year to year, so I'm actually applying for jobs nationally, so there's a chance I might not even be here next year, which would make me really sad because I love it here. Like I said, I think it's a phenomenal place, and I like a lot about the Jesuit character of the school, in that Jesuit spirituality is really all about appreciating each student where she is and honoring what it is she brings to the table, and that my job is really to just facilitate for you, helping you discover what your talents are, because in the sort of Jesuit view of life, God gave you talents in order to, they're like breadcrumbs that are supposed to help you get to what you're supposed to be doing. And that's ultimately what's going to make you happy. And I love that. I love that vision of education. I love that understanding of what our students are doing. So hopefully this time next year, I'll still get to be doing that.
Okay, one last question. Did you decide, like, why did you decide to start teaching?
That's an interesting question. Why did I decide to teach specifically? When I was very, very, very young, I did professional ballet and modern dance. And
So did I.
really, stop
Yeah.
it. I went to the academy when I was much younger. And I love Martha Graham. I'm very interested in sort of Martha Graham inflected dance. And I really liked it, and I liked what I was doing, but, pretty much as soon as I hit puberty, I was like taller than all the rest of the other boys, had way too big of a bust. I was like, I am not going to be a professional dancer.
Yeah.
But I was still responsible for teaching some lower level classes, and I loved it. I found it to be just hugely energizing. And I guess that was the first time in my life I started thinking about what it would mean to be a teacher. And then when I got to high school, I really developed a passion for English literature. The things that I love about teaching is that I love learning. I love that feeling of discovering something new about a text. And that happens when I teach. I mean, I'm really sort of your student. You guys are constantly teaching me new things about the conversation that we're having, the act of writing. And I love that. It keeps me on my toes. I think teaching keeps you fresh, because you can't get lazy about it. Every single class is unique and every single day is unique. So I guess I'm sort of an adrenaline junkie in that regard. that I like how interpersonal it is. I like how unpredictable it is. I like how dynamic it is. And I like it's an honor and a pleasure to help people learn something. It's exciting to get to see people have that moment of, oh my God, oh yeah, I get it. I can do that on my own. Like, my ultimate goal as a teacher is to become useless. My ultimate goal is that you can teach yourself, and I'm just giving you guys the skills to be able to do that. So that moment where it's like, oh, no hands, I've got it. Like, that is money. That is money.
All right, well then those are all the questions I have.
Fantastic.